Greetings everyone, welcome to this new build guide. We're gonna take a look at the Herald of Thunder. It's extremely fast and it has good damage, and the clear is just so satisfying because you explode the whole screen, and it's just, if you wanna see a more optimized version of this, that's probably not the video for you, but with Mage Blood and everything, there is a video out there that's showing off all of that, and it's probably a mirror worth of gear. But this build does not need to cost a lot to get started and farming the fully juiced tier 16 content. So as you can see here, I'm doing this kind of content here, and we're just gonna do a map here. I should have probably looked at the mods, but I might die here because it is I got Delirium Mirror. That's not part of the strategy, and as you can see here, it is so many mobs here, and we are just zooming through here and exploding everything. What I would like to have, of course, is a Mage Blood, because then I would probably forego the movement skill, and we're just gonna click an altar here to give us more rarity, because rarity gives us more gold, and I'm trying to get enough gold to actually upgrade my what do you call it, the King's March. Gold has been very scarce this league. We're gonna click this away before I'm killing myself here. So all you do is just run, and Herald of Thunder will auto target for you. Every skill will auto target for you. All the Flasks will just auto activate, and it's a very comfy build, as you can see here. It's very satisfying, and let's not stand in that when it blows up. And you can see here, I'm swimming in gold. I get about if I do this full speed through this map and not talk, I finish a map in about 2 minutes, and I'm getting I should have probably taken the other altar there, but then I would need to loot a lot of stuff while I'm talking, and I can't multitask for nuts. So normally I would just run through like this, but I don't want you to hear the clicking of my abilities, because I have a mechanical keyboard, I guess, so it sounds like a lot when I'm doing it. You can see here, I'm getting a lot of gold here. I might release a video on how to play this, or what this tactic is. You're getting full map sustain with this setup, and you're getting tons of gold. As you can see here, we are waiting for the boss, and you're gonna see something funny on the boss, hopefully. Sadly I can't hear when the boss comes down now. It's gonna just freeze here. Where is the boss? There it is. And now it's just chain frozen. It can't do anything, and that's it. So on bosses, you're completely safe. As long as you hit the boss before the boss hits you, you are not gonna die, because it's just gonna be constant frozen, because that's how Herald of Thunder, and it's also auto-targeting, so it's gonna be there like directly. It's not gonna be any reaction time from you. It's just gonna be a Herald of Thunder doing its thing. So let's take a look at the build then. Like I said, it is not it's not a very tanky build. We have some defensive layers, but I would love to replace some of these defensive layers. Like this one, I would like to have a Pro Genesis instead of here, but that's 60 divines. I would like to have a Mage Blood, because then I could put a movement speed flask and just zoom through the map, and I could also put on an elemental resist flask. That means I could just replace some of my gear, but obviously that is high investment stuff, and my investment have not been very high on this build so far. You can get started. I gained 10,000 gold just from half clearing that map. So we are doing the fish rod here. That's the new ascendancies. We are getting 100% crit through if we're using fishing rod, and also 80% cast speed. So pretty good there. The cast speed is like meh. It doesn't give us any damage. The only thing it benefits is our frost blink to frost blink a little bit faster. But the gist of the build is these two rings. These two rings are essential for the build. We are using the self damage, of course, on the last line there, and the self damage actually helps us. You would think that would be a detriment, but we have custom damage setups in our build that are getting constantly activated and gives us utility like frenzy charges, gives us a cold ailment, it gives us extra shock effect, and also gives us a way to put out the curses we have in the build. So everything is automated through the self damage also. But the line we're really looking for is the second to last one. It's Herald of Thunderstorm hit enemies with 49% increased frequency. It can go up to 50. I suggest you go as high as possible. I just bought this early in the league and I have not bothered changing them. They cost almost nothing. They're dirt cheap. It's very common, unique. Everything in this build is super cheap, so don't worry about the prices. You can get started on very low budget. I don't know. I got started with like 3 divines or something like that, and that's a few days ago. It's probably gone down in price since then. Because we are worrying about the hits of Herald of Thunder, not the buff effect. We are only worrying about the hits. So we're getting about 100 extra damage here. So that's just 100% just multiplier for our damage, so doubling the damage essentially. And because we are using 100% crit from our fishing rod, we are getting a full effect of our amulet. The amulet gives us less critical strike chance. That is the downside, but it doesn't. We don't care about that because we have always 100%. Could be much more or less critical strike chance, and we will still get 100% crit. So that means we get full effect of that critical strike multi, and it just pure damage just coming out. We have also boosted that critical strike multiplier with a critical strike modifier catalyst. So you can see that it says 20%. That means it's just it's supposed to be 237, but it's 284 now with boosted, so it can go even higher if I had a better roll from the beginning. Whispers of Doom is allocated as our anoint because we want that extra curse. We have 1 through our setup here for frostbite. We have 1 through our gloves here, implicit. You don't need it here. I know other people are using Wintry Blast or Frostblink, and then have that one with Hex Touch and Elemental Weakness. That's a little bit more damage, but I found it was really annoying to play with because you have to actually activate it yourself. You have to jump into the enemy on top of it to actually activate it, and this way I'm just getting everything automated all the time. So it's just fully cursed everything, but most mobs just died instantly. For our gloves, we have our Storm's Gift. These cost nothing. We're using it for our enemies are killed or shocked, and shocked inflicts spread on other enemies, so it spreads the shock, and also it leaves shocked ground on the ground because the enemies are shocked. So this is a must. You're gonna notice the difference directly. There is also ascendancy you can take instead of one of the other ones that gives you this effect, but why take it when we can just use Storm's Gift? Of course we lose the effect of a glove slot, but we're making good use of it as it is. Impulsa is the fun part because this gives us the explosions. It's just the ones that you see like blow up the whole screen. Very satisfying, very much fun. And I self-corrupted this one. I just walked in with just unsocketed or unlinked impulsas and just used tainted currency afterwards, after I did like 5 of them, and I got level of socketed duration gems. You can also have socketed AoE gems or level to socketed gems also. So there's 3 outcomes that are really good that gives you extra levels. Extra levels on Herald of Thunder is just king, so please try to get as many as you possibly can. We're using Heat Shiver. You can use a rare helmet also if here, but this one is also really inexpensive. It gives a lot of rest there, but also gives us some good cold damage for extra shield effect, and also frozen enemies. As you can see on the boss there, we freeze the boss instantly, so enemies that are actually surviving, they can't move because they're frozen, and they also take extra damage through our heat shiver. And which item have we forgot? We have our 2 rare items here. We just want to fill up with life, some resistance. Chaos Res is much needed, of course. It was very nice to have. And we also want to fill up with some stats because our steel skin takes some strength. I need to fill up with some strength here. I went with implicit here also on the boots, cooldown recovery for travel skills, so I can travel even faster with it. I don't know how much that, if it actually affects it at all, but there was no other good options anyway, so I might as well take it. And just fill up with resistance. Onslaught is very nice on these boots. Obviously we're not moving around by doing this. We are teleporting just like through the map, so the movement speed is not really needed, but the onslaught is very nice. I mean, we're getting extra cast speed, and we are occasionally moving around, so yeah, I just went with that. For our gem, I just went with some resistance, energy shield, and life, some pen there if I'm killed, so it activates when we are at the boss. For our links, crackling lance of this integration, it's very good because we are shocking enemies through this one, and we're getting extra shock effect, and it's going to activate by itself through our cost when damage taken. Through our rings, it's going to hit us, it's going to activate this one and this one, and it's just going to shoot out, and it's going to shoot out frostbite. It's going to spread frostbite all over the place, and we're going to get extra effect from that on. We also have cold snap, getting some frenzy charges, some extra shield effect, and that synergizes with our whole build and with our ascendancies, so that's very good. Shock nova to just help us get some extra shock effect, and also keep our Herald of Thunder up. So these two, just as you can see, the Herald of Thunder never stops in the map when I'm running, unless I'm like 5 to 10 seconds outside of fight, then I'm gonna need to use Frost Blink again to just jump into a mob and to get it started. Arctic armor is very good. I mean, we can't use any auras, and this doesn't count as aura, so I'm using Arctic armor for just using up some of my reserved stuff here. You can also use aspect of the spider is very good if you want extra damage and also slow down the enemies. So I know, but I could not fit in anymore, so yeah, if I had Mage Blood, I could probably fit in one more, because then I can do some other changes on the tree. For our main link, we are using Herald of Thunder. Try to go with level 21 here. I don't think the quality does anything when I changed around on it, because the Herald effect on us, we don't really care about. So yeah, it didn't really do anything. Oh wait, increased frequency. Oh, it did. Never mind. Please do with quality. It was wrong. I probably did it wrong in POB then. Energy shield leech, because we want to have energy shield leech, otherwise we're gonna lose all the energy shield, and we're not gonna have any during the whole mapping session. So please put in some energy shield leech here. Unless you have it somewhere else, then you can use another link, I guess. Awaken Adder Lightning is really good, because at level 5 you get +1 level, so really good there. Cold Pen, you don't get any plus level, so I just kept it as it was. Critical strike damage, because we are 100% crit, so it's a given. Hypothermia, again, more shield effect and more damage against shield enemies. Everything is shield, so it's a no-brainer also. I tried switching different, like with Empower, fully leveled Empower and stuff like that, but it was still giving me more damage with these links. For our boots, we are using automation, so we don't need to push any of these buttons, and we are automating with more duration. I should put on some quality there. Face run and steel skin. Steel skin for some extra defense, and face run with just, sometimes you get stuck on enemies, you know, and you just want to run through them, and it gives us some extra movement speed also some stealth, so we don't get hit as often. So very good there. Frostblink with Wintry Blast. Frostblink off Wintry Blast gives us with faster casting, just let us jump around in the map even faster. I know people are using, instead of my implicit here, they're using Frostblink and they're using Hex Touch and then with Elemental Weakness. That will give you more damage, but that means also that you're gonna need to jump on top of the enemies you want to curse with that Elemental Weakness, and I did not like that, so I just splurged a little bit extra on this one. Custom Death Portal, because it is kind of a glass cannon build until you at least until you have Progenesis and Mage Blood, so you kind of want to have something that lets you get into the fight instantly. You don't need to activate the auras again on these builds. GG made that change a few leagues ago, I think, and that means you just need to click yourself into the map instantly and you're already at the last place you died, so it's just super good. Yeah, that's the basic gist of all the gems we have. Let's take a look at the skill tree and our ascendancy. Our ascendancy is Surfcaster because it's very nice and it's a new, I know Herald is a new ascendancy for Herald skill, but honestly I tested around with that one and it's not as good as this one. It just isn't. The damage was lower, I feel like, and at least the way I'm used to setting it up. There might be setups out there that are better, but I could not replicate with what I saw on PoE Ninja to get more damage out of it. So this one is just Traveling Node. It gives us a Frostblink a little bit faster to move around with. All hits are critical strike. If you're wearing a fishing rod, we are wearing a fishing rod. That means that every strike, no matter how much we lower the critical strike rating, is going to be a crit. So really nice boost there. Then it means we don't need to worry about our weapon, and fishing rods are probably, I bought it like a week ago or 5 days ago, and it was like 2 divine, so it should be much lower now. It should be almost free now. Lightning damage convert to cold damage, really nice, and cold damage can shock. This is gold, like for a defensive layer, because now we get the upside of shock and the cold damage, which is chill and frozen enemies. Like that is really good for our defenses and our offense. And the next one here, enemy shield by hits lessen their damage dealt half by chill effect. So that means I have an implicit here on the helmet. I just figured that I could go for something on the helmet because these are like they're dropping like candy for the farmers out there, so you can get really good implicits. So that means you're like taking less damage, and also shield enemies have damage taken increased by shield effect, so you're also doing more damage to shield enemies, and they're always shield for this build. Otherwise, for our tree here, we're just picking up some stats, some crit multi, some life wherever we can get it, and there are some important stuff here. So like this one, you need this one to get started. You can play it without, but you are gonna be suffering. You're always gonna be at 0 energy shield then, because what this one does, if I take this one away, please have it in there, and then it's gonna turn this pain attunement into corrupted soul, and what it says is 50% of non-chaos damage taken bypass energy shield. That means 50% our self-damage here is gonna hit our life. That means we are gonna split it between our life and energy shield. That means our energy shield leech can do some of the work, and our instant leech from up here, is it here? Doriani's elemental damage leeches life is gonna do other half of the work. That means you can split the damage and you can all be full on life and energy shield at the same time. Really good. Otherwise, it's not super important. I just picked the first one. I was lucky enough to get increased cold damage. Penetrates 4% cold resistance. Pretty good there. And then just take a look at the other nodes. You can also search on it on POB. There's guides out there for how to search for good timeless jewels. Make sure it's in the name of Doriani on your glorious vanity, otherwise it's not going to convert it into corrupted soul. These ones you can probably forego if you don't have the points for it. Same way you can probably forgo these points right here if you don't have the points for it on the tree. Otherwise, pick up some, because fire cold damage is really good here, and we're converting. So this one, we are using this tree here, maximum life and energy shield. We're scaling through both. Chaos damage taken does not bypass energy shield, pretty good there to just spread out the damage a little bit more. We are starved on some dex and strength for our gems here through our face run and through our steel skin, so we try to get as much here. Critical strike multiplier is king on this build, so pick those up. We are instant leech, so this is a must. You're gonna feel very hindered in this build if you don't take this mastery, so that otherwise you're just gonna die. Cold exposure hit on cold damage, so we're gonna have that up 100% of the time. We're getting some mana reservation here to help us do the 6th link. Some recoup of life because we are taking damage through the rings, and we are getting back through that recoup. This one is really important because damage taken recouped as mana as mastery. These not as super important though, but we want to path down here because every time cost when damage taken activates, it costs mana through our skills we're activating. So we are getting back 100% of that just through here. We are constantly just gonna ping pong in our mana, which is very nice. Max life, we probably don't need that, but we need the energy shield here, so very good. And then we're here, we have both energy shield and life and some chaos rest. Really good nodes down here, but we can cut this off if we don't need to. For our clusters here, I would suggest you run with 2 clusters in the end game, and the most important one is this one, Doriani's Lesson. Otherwise you're gonna need to find something that leeches elemental damage as life. I know you can probably get a node on this big one that do leech for elemental damage or a specific element, but I don't know, I'm not 100% sure about that one. It might be lightning damage, and because we're converting, yeah, so it might not work. But Dorianis is very good. Then otherwise there's a ton of different here. We can either go with the lightning damage cluster here, or we can go with a cold damage cluster. Make sure it's an 8 here, and you don't need to go with 3 major nodes of course in the beginning, but you can take a look at my POB and just copy the nodes I have here and just type them all into a search bar and make sure that at least one of your big clusters have this one. I had one with 9 nodes in the beginning to just make it even cheaper, and I bought it for like 20 chaos or something like that. For a medium, it's very easy. We do want the same nodes on every single one of them. We have Dark Messenger and Empowered Envoy. We want that on every single one here. You can see Dark Messenger and Empowered Envoy. Otherwise, we also want Lone Messenger. This is a must. It doubles our DPS for this build, and it also makes it so we cannot reserve mana for auras, and that's why we're using Arctic Armor or Aspect of the Spider if we had enough for that one, or then we could just not use Arctic Armor. But this one just double it, so really good there. For our jewels, we are just want to have maximum life, ES, some stats. Resistance is key here. We are using the bandit for Alira for some extra resistance. I don't think you want to go for anything else there, because 1 point extra on the skill tree if you kill them all, I mean, it's very point efficient to get that 12% or what it is, all res. So otherwise, I have Corrupted Blood also on my Calamity's Vision here, so make sure if you want, maybe one of them should have that, but it's not needed. I played with most. This was a very late upgrade for me, and it's very expensive also. So if you want to spend some extra currency on that, then please do so. I forgot to go through the flask, I believe. For our flask, I'm just using some gold flask here to gain some extra gold from my map, because more rarity means more gold drop from the enemies. And I also have one with enchant here, the crafted mod, increased rarity into thunder during flask effect. So otherwise we have two, we have the Granite Flask for more armor, we have the Jade Flask for more evasion, some less curse effect, and then we're just boosting armor and evasion, and a serious promise from Chaos Rest, because obviously there's a sore point in our build, and we are looking at the gain 8% of elemental damage and extra chaos damage. That's the important mod, so you want that 8% to be not 5. You want to have it as big as possible, and all of these are activated when the charges reach full, which is all the time. There was one more important thing here. Yeah, this flask, Topaz Flask, it's maximum lightning resistance. So that means our self-damaging rings here, they take less damage. So that's 5% extra on our top of our 75. So that's 80% now, max rest when we have this activated. So that's really important if you want to have some increased survivability. That's just gonna be less damage taken from the self-damaging through this whole build. Finally, we are just gonna look at Pantheon. We are just using freeze immunity on this one, and we are using additional physical damage because here we are taking self-damage all the time, so we are gonna be at max stack the whole time. So it's just, we have almost no armor already, so some physical damage reduction is very important. So that's the gist of this build. I hope this helps someone to build it a little bit less expensive, and if you want to get started a little bit earlier, you can go with Crest of Desire up here. It's just it's a heist item that gives you double damage, and also you can read about it yourself, but it essentially you need no 6 link then. So it's a very good item to get started with if you don't want to worry about the 6 link. But these are like 2 divines without the I sold my 6 link, the other one Impulsa, for 2 divines, so I don't know what they are now, but they're not expensive at all because Black Morgan is out in the game and people are farming beasts like crazy. So thank you for watching, and if you have a question, please leave it in the comment field below and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching.